Hello, I'm Claudia Taylor with the UNT Alumni Association, and welcome to UNT Alumni Live. Today, we are hanging out at the one and only Denton Square, home of the brand new UNT CoLab, an exciting combination of retail boutique, event space, and learning laboratory for UNT students. We're going to take a look at some of the one-of-a-kind gifts and goodies sold at the CoLab, look around its historic building space, one of the oldest on Denton Square, and meet two of the talented UNT alumni artisans whose creations help make the CoLab truly unique. Before we get started, just a few reminders. If you're joining us on Zoom, please keep an eye on the chat section at the bottom of your screen. I'll be posting some useful links there, and you can also use that to send me your questions during our tour today. I'll also post a link to a survey there. As always, fill that out and you'll be entered to win a UNT prize pack. If you're watching on Facebook, you can leave us questions in the comment section there too, and we'll get to as many as we can. Now, before I hand the program over to my colleague, Casey Kameninski, let me tell you a little bit about UNT CoLab Director Kristen Kendrick-Bigley, who will lead us on our tour today. Kristen has served as director of the UNT CoLab since spring 2020. Prior to joining the University of North Texas, Kristen spent 2 decades working in the retail industry in various field leadership positions with Bare Minerals. She holds a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Studio Art Sculpture, and in 2016 launched KKB Metal Studio, a handmade artisan jewelry line selling primarily through her website. Kristen, thank you for being here, and Casey, take it away.
What did I say about that mute button? It gets me every time. Thank you, Claudia. Hello, Kristen. How are you? Take a deep breath of fresh air.
I lost my mic there for a second, but we're all good.
No. Oh, no. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure.
You bet. Well, you know, let's just get right to it. I know that you're in a really unique event space, or I shouldn't say just event space. You're in a really unique space just off the square in downtown Denton. And, you know, give us a little bit of background and history on the building that you're in, and tell us a little bit more about how we went from the UNT on the square to now the UNT CoLab.
Sure. So earlier this year, when I took over as director, we started looking for a new space. We were previously 1 block up directly across from the courthouse, and we wanted to kind of revisit the space as part of our shift to the College of Merchandising, Hospitality, and Tourism. So previously, UNT on the Square was primarily a visual arts and performing arts venue where they would showcase UNT excellences as well as use it as a community venue. So a lot of those things will transfer into this space, but in addition, we have the merchandising aspect with our retail boutique, as well as the student learning lab aspect, which links directly back to CMHT's students' courseworks and projects, which is really exciting.
Okay, and for anyone that's joining us that's not familiar with CMHT, can you give everyone the definition of what CMHT may stand, or not may stand for, but what it stands for?
So it is the College of Merchandising, Hospitality, and Tourism.
That's fantastic. So you guys are working to help give students opportunities to showcase their art pieces and their creative designs. That must be a really fulfilling part of this role that you're in. And I'm really excited to see some of these pieces here in just a minute. But will you tell us a little bit about where you're standing right now, and then maybe just kind of take us around the building and let us see?
Sure. Yes, so we're in the front of the building. So he's going to pan and show you. We've got 2 really nice window areas. This boutique space is about 700 square feet that we've dedicated to merchandising. I'll go through and share a little bit more specifics about what's in the boutique after I give you the rest of the tour. But this area is dedicated to that purpose. We do have a fun little frame wall over here. If anyone would like to stop by and take their photo and post it to Instagram, something like that would be really fun. And our window right now is a little bit spooky. We're participating in the Denton Main Street Association's Halloween window decorating contest. So that is open until November 1st, if anyone feels like they would like to vote.
That's funny. As Daniel showed us that window, I was thinking, man, you've got some visitors that I don't know that you were expecting.
So the history of this building ties into that, and I'll share that in a moment. So this middle area here, this is our combination exhibition space. So it's a gallery, as well as the event venue. So this main level area is what we will primarily use to do hospitality events, community events, receptions. It'll be available to be rented as space for a party or something like that eventually. We're not doing that right now. So those things will come in the future when we are able to host groups again in the facility.
That's totally understandable.
We can configure it in a lot of different ways, and we can accommodate up to about 100 guests, depending on what the seating arrangement or standing arrangement is.
I really like the aesthetics of this space. It's really clean and industrial and
Right.
modern at the same time. And
Right, and it's got the history steeped in the building, which is really a cool piece of this too.
yeah.
Upstairs on the mezzanine, as we come up, this is tall people need to be a little cautious up here, a little bit below head clearance there. But we've got a secondary gallery area up here in this mezzanine space, and then some administrative use. And all the way back at the very end, that's a conference area. We could do small group meetings, workshops, things of that nature.
That's really fantastic. So define small group. Are we talking 10 people or less?
Yes.
Okay.
10 to 12 probably.
Fantastic. Well, I know that
Yeah.
everybody is just dying to get back to in-person events and meetings. And so, you know, if you're watching, keep this in mind whenever the time comes and the time is right and it's safe to do so.
Right. Well, let's walk back downstairs and I'll show you a little bit about the history of the building.
Yes, this is fun. I cannot wait.
So this building was built in 1878. First business owner of the building was John B. Schmitz. His name is actually on the facade of the building as well as in the entryway when you walk in the concrete, it's stamped. So John B. Schmitz was a furniture maker and a cabinet maker. Apparently he also serviced pianos and organs in this building when he started. He was also one of the very first undertakers in the state of Texas. So furniture makers back in the day often built coffins. So that was part of this operation as well. Therefore, you see what that link is to our spirits in the window.
Absolutely. So as you guys were walking down the stairs, it was a little difficult to hear the year that the building was built. What was that again?
Sure. 1878.
Wow, that's fantastic. So have you guys had any encounters that may alarm you? Any cool stories?
I have not personally. The previous tenant did give me the heads up that there may be a spirit in the building, but I have not experienced it yet.
Fantastic. Well, I hope you don't ever, and you know, you can keep at peace, right?
Right, a friendly ghost.
That's right, exactly. So, all right, so we just looked at a bunch of the event space. Now, if people wanted to host events when it's safe to do so, how would they go about reserving the space?
Right, so there is some information on our website about what the rental rates run. And at this time, the best way is to either email me directly or email the CoLab email address directly. And we'll just work through the process on scheduling to see if there's availability in the calendar and what the event needs are, and then how we could plan that together.
Perfect, perfect. So you had mentioned the gallery space that's behind you. And, you know, can you tell us a little bit about how an artist would go about being featured in the gallery space? How do you go about curating these things, and any other information for all of our artists that are out there watching?
Sure, that's a great question. It's a combination of prioritizing UNT-based exhibitions, if you will. So things might be student work where they need a place to exhibit. It might be a department that wants to showcase information, educational presentations, things of that nature. or it can be a community member. There will be exhibitions that we host either ourselves or in partnership with another art collective, if you will. So one of our first exhibits was with Envision Arts, and it was a juried art show that was open to everyone, not UNT exclusive, anyone in the community could enter. So we'll continue to offer periodic juried shows, as well as when we have time in the calendar where we don't have something booked, then we will have the exhibition space available for rental.
That's fantastic. So as far as getting the student work in there, we've got a lot of students, Kristen. So how do you guys go about narrowing it down with our students even?
Another great question. Yes, so again, it's going to default to prioritizing some of our campus-wide exhibits first. And where we have holes in that calendar, then we can open it up to a jury, kind of a curation, if you will, of people who can exhibit their artwork. And we'll have it split to where the mezzanine is available separately from the main level. So there may be an opportunity where the main level might be already reserved, and then the mezzanine could be available.
Fantastic. I'm dying to know, can you tell us a little bit more about the current exhibit that's behind you there?
Absolutely. So this is a really special exhibit. We just finished installing it yesterday. This is Bird Williams IV. He is actually our upstairs neighbor. So there are 2 apartments up on the 3rd floor, and he has his studio and living quarters where he's been working for the past 2 years directly above us.
Very nice.
He's working on a special collections UNT project. So let me give you a little bit of history, and then I'll tell you what makes these so unique. So he's a 4th generation photographer, meaning straight 4 generations back, they've all been doing something with photography. The UNT Special Collections is the recipient of his archive of his family's work. And Bird has now been adding to that work by doing kind of a documentary style, really a anthropological style of work rather than a vanity style of portraiture, and also to document how people look in this day and age for the future generations. So thinking back on history, when you look at the Egyptian cave paintings or tombs, those tell you about the history of the culture then. This is what he's documenting for future generations to come.
That is really fascinating. And of course, all I can think about is how he's going to document the masks and the pajama pants, right?
Right.
Well,
so another thing that's really cool though, is these portraits are shot on an 8x10 camera.
Those are beautiful.
So what you're seeing here is a contact print. This has not been enlarged. The size of the negative is the size of the print right now.
These are
beautiful. So it's a really large camera. And then if we walk down to this grid, this is the other part of the project that really is for the UNT Special Collections, where he's literally picked people up off the street in Denton and asked them to visit his studio so he can document them. So these are local Dentonites in a lot of cases. And this is just how they present themselves.
I love this. So they didn't have any time to prepare. They didn't know anything about this. And he caught them truly in their purest form and fashion there. So that's really fascinating. Right. I'm curious about the photographs in the 8x10 over there. Are these people handpicked for a certain reason? What is the story behind the people that are photographed right there?
On these portraits, I think these are, again, people that he has met through his walks downtown. Some of them are folks that he's been connected with just in his own personal life, but they're just regular people.
They're beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
I love a good black and white. So thank you for sharing that. So guys, if nothing else, make a trip up to Denton to go check this out. Check out the CoLab. and make an excuse to get out of the house for a minute safely. All right. So Kristen, are you guys limiting capacity in the CoLab? Okay. What is the maximum capacity?
We're at 10.
Okay.
So we will max headcount at 10. And if at that point we have 10 people in here, we'll have to limit capacity until some people leave. But
sure,
it's been totally manageable.
Perfect. That makes perfect sense. And if nothing else, they can go grab a cup of coffee across the street while they're waiting, right? It's fine.
Gnome Cones has their winter drink menu out, so you can get a hot cider next door.
I love it. I love it. Well, okay, let's make our way back towards the front, because I know that you've got some really special people there waiting on us.
I do, and I want to showcase a few things before I introduce them, because they're going to show you a lot about their work, but I want to give you a little bit of an introduction into the rest of the work that we have available in the retail boutique. So oh, sorry, do you have a question first?
No, I don't. You're good. You're good. I'm sorry, guys, this lag that Kristen is experiencing and I'm experiencing is a little awkward. So thank you for bearing with us as we kind of work through this and navigate this weird lag that we've got going on. So Kristen, you're doing a great job. Thank you.
Okay. So the retail boutique is a very exciting, it's a curated collection of goods that are mean green and Denton inspired. So while we have a few things that are actually licensed collegiate products, most things are not, and that's intentionally done. So we've worked specifically with a lot of local makers, artists, vendors that have created, in a lot of cases, new products just for us. So it's a true collaboration where they've done something green, whereas normally maybe they wouldn't work in this color palette. So I'll start sharing with what I have on. This is Isle of Skye. It's an ice-dyed bandana. Traditionally, she works in indigo, so the green was a different color choice for her. So we have these beautiful bandanas in a range of shades, from vibrant to more toned down.
Those are beautiful.
And each one is completely unique.
So ice dyed, is that exactly what it sounds like? It's dyed using ice?
Yes.
Tell us a little more.
So I haven't done the process myself, but it's a process of laying ice out over the fabric, and the dye is also placed in that. And as the ice melts, the dye comes down and stains the fabric in those unique patterns. So it's different than a tie-dye, whereas the tie-dye is a little bit more controlled because you've got a resist with the tied areas. This is literally just ice dyed, and as it melts, it dyes.
That's really neat. I'm gonna have to try that. It looks like fun. Show us a little bit more.
Yeah. So I've pulled together a small collection of things just to give you a taste of what we've got. So we have another item created just for the CoLab. This is recycled, a tomato leaf and lemongrass soy candle, which I wish you could smell, but you can't. So you'll have to come in to smell it. But it smells just like a garden. And these are green inspired scents that she does not typically offer. So that's another example of a collaboration where the maker did something really just for us. Then we have our Denton line, and we've got this in several types of products, including these leather items and t-shirts, as well as caps, mugs, and a couple of other things. This is a signature in-house created design that you're not going to get anywhere else in town. You can only get it at the CoLab. Norman Roscoe printed our t-shirts for us, and the leather items were created by Clint Wilkinson, and he's had a long history in Denton with his family as leather workers. His grandfather owned Weldon's Western Wear.
That is really neat, and it always reminds me to say Denton, not Denton.
Yes.
So I get made fun of all the time.
If you hadn't caught on, It's a vintage license plate inspiration.
I love that. That is really cool. And I have seen those around and I've always appreciated the design, but I didn't really understand the history behind it. So that's really neat. Thank you.
Absolutely. A couple other things. We have Robin Coe. She's an alumni of UNT, and she took a design that she had and she changed the colors to really be UNT inspired. So we have a couple of different items in that design. We have a couple of food-based products. This is Smoky John's. Brent Reeves is another alumni, and his family's owned Smoky John's in Dallas for generations. So we've got a few of his packaged items here. Then we've got Frupano, and this is a rockin' margarita jelly that has tequila in it. There's also the hot version of that.
Boy.
And Tyson is also a UNT alumni.
That's incredible. So enjoy that on your toast in the morning, right?
Yeah.
Well, and then, you know, it's funny you mentioned Smokey John because, and Brent Reeves, because I just saw before we went live that he was being interviewed on Channel 5 this afternoon. And so
Really?
he's a riot. They're just so much fun to watch. And so that's exciting. I love to see that you've got that product in there. So I'm going to have to stop by and grab some.
Wonderful. So a couple other things and then we'll move on. This was a project that is really exciting. It's created by another UNT alum and also current staff member. It's Lindbergh Supply Company, and we sourced banners from campus that had lived their life. So we have items both with the actual kind of plastic banners, which are things like these tassel keychains, as well as these cloth banners, which have been repurposed and upcycled into unique products. These are truly one of a kind.
I'm really surprised at how new they look. You know, it doesn't look used. It looks really great. And I love the design.
The canvas banners were in remarkable shape.
That's amazing.
We
what a
were
great
lucky.
way to repurpose those.
And finally, these are some fun plushies created by another UNT alum. And they're obviously inspired by some of our mascots that we have on campus. And they've got their special green accessories.
That is
I do want to
so
mention
cool.
that we do have specifically items that aren't necessarily targeted to UNT students or alumni, because we recognize that we're in Denton and everyone walking around the square maybe isn't looking for green. So we've got a nice mix in here. So there truly is something that would appeal to anyone walking through the door.
That's fantastic. And I will also say that I have browsed the website several times and there's a beautiful catalog for people to shop through, and they can call or order online. No, they can just call. Is that correct, to place an order,
So
Kristen?
we're actually open Tuesday through Saturday now, 11 to 6. And you can call and I'll probably be the one to answer the phone. And I'd be happy to package something up and ship it off if you're not local.
Perfect.
I will say that PDF catalog is not completely up to date because we have added some new things to the assortment since that was produced, but we'll continue to update as we can.
That's fantastic. And with the holidays right around the corner, guys, there are so many perfect gifts just right there. So check it out. And I know that what we're going to look at here in just a couple of minutes is really going to inspire you to want to shop for your friends and family members from the CoLab as well. So Kristen, is there anything else that you wanted to show us there before we start talking with Aaron?
I think that I'm going to hand it over and let our two guests share what they've got to share, how they collaborated with us. I'm just excited to be able to showcase what we've been doing and truly ask everyone to stop by and visit in person, masks required, and just experience the space and the products.
That's fantastic. So also one other question, I shouldn't say last question before we go because I've always got so many more, but do any of the proceeds from these sales go back towards the college and the students, or how does that work?
That's a great question. So right now we are really just funding this space. So we're not sending money necessarily back, but we are using it to buy additional product primarily.
Fantastic.
And I do want to say about the Student Learning Lab, because we didn't really touch too much on that, that there's a couple of key pieces with our operation and how we are helping the students get real life experience before they're finished with their degree program. So one of the ways we're doing that is through event management courses. And in the spring, we were able to actually host an event that the students planned and executed fully. Of course, with COVID, we have not been able to continue to host actual events, but they're using this facility as their virtual event space and therefore planning their event as if it were to take place. And once we can host events, that of course will come back into play. We also do student internships through the building, so merchandising and hospitality primarily, but there's certainly maybe opportunities for other students if there's coursework that would relate. And we will eventually have hospitality events happening on a more regular basis, and that will be an opportunity to link directly back to the coursework as well.
That's fantastic. I love it when to hear our students are getting this real world experience and really enriching their education. So this is really a great partnership and a great thing that we've got going for our students. So thank you for sharing that piece about it. That's absolutely vital to this program here. So thank you.
Yes.
All right. Well, I tell you what, let's turn it over to Erin and bring Miss Erin Alice over. And Erin is the owner of Green Fairy Designs. Can Erin hear us? Daniel's our cameraman and he's doing a great job. And
audio is always our trouble spot.
And you know, it makes me feel good to know that it's not just us. After 7 months, we're still trying to figure out everything and work out these kinks. And when we had our interview, what was it, 2 weeks ago with Wilson Jones at Oshkosh, they were even blown away going, how do we make this audio situation work? So if anyone out there knows, please contact me or Claudia because we need help. Not afraid to use my resources. So, all right. Did we get Erin hooked up there?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Awesome. Hey, Erin.
Hi.
What a beautiful, brightly colored dress. I love your green.
Thank you.
Now, Erin, are you a student? Is that correct?
Hang on, it's very faint to hear you.
Oh, no. Test, 1, 2, 3. Are you a student, Erin?
We're cutting in and out.
Can we, maybe if she gets the audio from the device you're filming with, Daniel, would that be possible?
I can hear now.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Sorry, I wasn't trying to yell at you. Awesome. So, Erin, you're a student, is that correct?
That's correct. I'm a current post-bac.
Oh, no.
Post-bac student at UNT CoLab with the Studio Art Ceramics program.
All right, you guys are throwing out all kinds of acronyms. And so in case we've got viewers out there that are wondering, what is CVAD and some of the other things you just mentioned very quickly, could you kind of tell us what those are?
Sure. CVAD is the College of Arts and Visual Science, I believe.
Visual Arts and Design.
And I'm in the Studio Art Ceramics program.
Fantastic. That's going to be a really fun program to be in, very hands-on, of course. So, Erin, tell us, you said you're in what year again? I'm sorry.
I'm a post-bac student. So I have a degree already from the University of Houston in psychology, and I've gone back to school as a post-baccalaureate.
Good for you. That's fantastic. So what made you choose UNT?
Well, I live up here, and I actually work for the Department of Mechanical and Energy Engineering, which is now the Mechanical Engineering Department.
Wow. So you're working on campus, you're studying on campus, you're involved with the...
stay in my ear, sorry.
Yeah. You're doing a great job. You're just hang in there with us. So I tell you what, Erin, why don't you go ahead and show us a little bit of what you've been working on and tell us about your pieces.
Sure.
You can walk around like an FBI agent. That's totally fine.
So this is one of my items that I make. These are ceramic planters. So they decorated on the bottom. And I even thought about your desk. So there's cork on the coasters.
I love that. And it's a very modern design, Erin. How did you produce this?
So I bought a silhouette machine so I can print vinyl decals. And then I peel those off and apply them to the wet ceramic material and brush on the glazing.
Those are absolutely beautiful. All right, I think you're being a little modest today because let's get a better look at those and let's talk more about the functionality and feature of the design that you have there. I love that it's got a drip tray. Is that right?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel. You're doing a great job. Awesome. And so
I love plants, so I have them in my office, and I'm always worried about ruining UNT desks, so I put the cork on the bottom.
I love it. That is brilliant. And I guess those aren't very big, but they would be great for a little succulent or something. Is that right? Excellent.
Correct. They hold about 14 ounces.
Okay, good deal. So what else have you got going on over there at the CoLab?
So I also have some mugs, which are over here, and these are a little bit way more decorated than the planters with the geometric pattern.
Oh, I love those.
And the technique that I use to create these is with a slip cast method. So I make a mold out of clay and then cast it in plaster. And then with that plaster mold, I will then use liquid clay to form the current piece.
Wow. Okay, so how many ounces does that hold? Because I drink a lot of coffee.
This is also a 14-ounce mug.
Perfect. Sign me up for 2. I love it. Now, can you go ahead and tell the audience what are the price points on these 2 pieces?
Let's see. These are $45, and I believe the planter is $40.
Excellent. So now you guys know, call Kristen when we're done here. Don't call her right now though, because she's busy, but call her when you're done here and place your order for these. So how did you go from being a psychology major to now doing ceramics and pottery and things of this nature?
It's definitely been a long journey. I've always been very artistic growing up. And I initially went to the University of Houston for a graphic design degree. But halfway through, I got really excited about the X-Files and decided I wanted to be a criminal profiler. So I got a psychology degree, big mistake. But so I came up here to work for the University of North Texas in the mechanical engineering department as marketing and outreach. And my friend who works there as well convinced me in 2018 to come back to UNT to go to school for a degree in ceramics.
That's fantastic. So aside from small pieces like this, have you created anything on a much larger scale?
I do have larger planters, probably about like a foot in size. And I do a lot of sculptural pieces as well with mostly ocean themed things from Galveston, Texas, where I grew up going to visit a lot.
Oh, I love that.
So I have like little crabs and sea life on them.
Fantastic. That is really fun. So what's been the best part of your experience in this program at UNT so far?
It has to be the faculty and just how much they care about the students and like your success. Because I definitely didn't get that feeling going to University of Houston. UNT definitely feels very family oriented, and even after you graduate, you always want to come back and be connected because it just kind of stays with you forever.
Yes, it does. I love that you mentioned that, and it's so great to hear that our faculty are still just continuing to do tremendous things. And I know the dean is watching right now, so I'm sure she's thrilled to hear that as well. You're doing a great job. So I guess now, what is your end goal here? Are you hoping to do ceramics and pottery, on your own and run a business full time after this, or something else?
So that's a really hard decision for me to make because I truly love my mechanical engineering department that I work at, and all of them and the faculty and staff there are also like my family. So I don't know if I'd ever want to leave them. So it's definitely still in that hobby territory of just doing it in my free time.
I think that's the perfect answer. Absolute perfect answer. And plus, as a hobby, you're not going to burn out doing this, and you'll continue to enjoy doing it as well. So good for you. Really good for you. Well, holy moly, I just looked at the clock and realized it's almost 4:40. So I understand we also have a UNT alumna there as well, Miss Mary Jarvis. Is she ready? I love that shirt, Mary. All right.
Yeah, I got my green alumni.
You look fantastic. Would you feel comfortable unmasking so we could maybe hear you a little bit better?
Sure. Let me try not to knock out the earphone. Okay.
It's a delicate balance, isn't it? So Mary, tell us a little bit about what you've got going on at the CoLab.
Well, I'm a jewelry maker, and when the opportunity came up for me to make some things for the CoLab, I was very excited about it. I was thrilled to be, as an alumni, to be included. So the first challenge was, try to limit to green, which at first I was a little concerned about because I love all different colors. I'm a gardener, so usually I'm all over the place with color with some of my wearables. But once I gave myself an assignment to stick with green, it actually stirred me on to be a little bit more creative and have that boundary to create whatever I wanted and some different things.
That's exciting. So could we take a peek at some of the things that you have?
Sure. So here's some of the first pieces that I made exclusively for UNT, for the CoLab. I wanted to work with acrylic for a while. So I bought some sheets of acrylic and just started creating shapes and cutting the shapes, working much like I do as a metalsmith, but using the plastic.
Those are beautiful. So those are earrings. And
I decided I wanted to do big, bold geometrics, and as along with the shapes that are coming up and the colors. So that's the first exploration. And I also have these in different colors in my Etsy store. So then I also do enameling, which is a little more labor intensive, but I can work with any color I want. So these pieces right here are enameled, which is powdered glass on metal, and it's fired in a kiln, kind of like the ceramics. This one is green with gold leaf. And this one is a glass bead. So when I first started my career beyond graphic design, I found a person that would teach me how to make glass beads. So I still have some of these glass beads. The echo is a little bit making me a little nervous, but I'm going to be making some more glass beads, which are fun just to string on a cord or a chain.
Mary, these are absolutely beautiful and all handmade. The earrings, the acrylic earrings. Now, are those pretty heavy? Because those look like large earrings, or is acrylic pretty light?
This is what I'm wearing, and they're very lightweight.
Awesome.
So that's another thing I like about them.
Yeah.
Some of the longer enamel pieces can be a little heavier, but these are very comfortable. I forget that I have them on.
They look great on you. So Claudia mentions that you've got some really cool neon pieces in your Etsy store, and she was wondering if you could talk a little bit about creating those.
Yes, I have found some acrylics that are glow in the dark, and or some of them are just like has a glow on the edge. So if you're any kind of light, they have the edge glows as if it's electric, but it's not. So I'm having fun with those.
That is really
Those
cool.
are-
So what is the name of your Etsy store?
Mary Jarvis Designs.
All right, you guys heard it. So check her out and check out these really unique pieces. And of course, you know, it's everybody needs more green jewelry. So let's support Mary.
I'm
And
having fun with it. Yeah.
I love it. So you traditionally have been working with metal pieces, is that right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little
For
bit
this
more?
past several years. Well, I've always wanted to be an artist. When I was a little kid, I would do my homework as fast as I could, and then I'd start making things with paper and glue. My grandfather was an artist maker, so I've always been working and making things. So after my career in graphic design, I took a glass bead making class, and that turned into a whole world, and I created a business around that. So it's when I started seeing my customers using metalsmithing skills to create jewelry with my glass beads, that set me on a path to take a class in metalsmithing.
How fun. So tell us a little bit about your education and your time at UNT. What did you major in?
Metalsmithing.
Okay.
So as I said, in Houston at the Glassell School of Art, I met James Thurman. He was teaching a workshop there. I had started metalsmithing skills and classes there. Then life happened, and I ended up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And my friend James invited me to come up to UNT to check out their metalsmithing program. And it just was a perfect time for me to take a break and, you know, pursue my master's degree, which is something I wanted to do.
That's fantastic.
So I finished that degree in 2018.
Oh, you're a recent graduate. Congratulations.
Yes. Yeah.
Very proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
This is exciting. So you graduated just in time to create some great pieces and then go into quarantine a year later, right?
Yes.
We can't even wear them out to show them off, darn it. But
It's true.
we'll tell everybody to order now, so that way when it's safe to go out and really show off those pieces on a night out, they'll have them on hand.
It's true. They're great for selfies.
There you go. Practice your
Yeah.
selfie technique. I love it.
Right.
So are you from the Houston region?
No, that's a long story. I have many cities I've lived in, but I'm a native Texan, born in Odessa, Texas. Moved around a lot as a child. And it's just hard to say where I'm from, but I say I'm a native Texan.
That's perfect. And I love to hear that you're a native Texan. We've got a lot of pride in that. Kathy Hartman says that James Thurman is a rock star, such a wonderful teacher and mentor. So thank you for those positive words, Kathy. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, guys, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to show us your pieces and your artwork. And I cannot wait to get over there and spend all the money. Don't tell my husband. But guys, if you're tuning in now, you've got to check this place out. Make a trip up to Denton and go check out the CoLab, support our students, support our alumni, support our local Denton natives that are producing these pieces, and check out the artwork. It's beautiful. I cannot wait to check it out. So Kristen, is there anything else that we haven't covered that we might want to discuss before turning it over to Claudia?
Gotta unmask there.
Deep breath.
So I think the one thing we didn't cover earlier would be anyone who might be interested to be a vendor. So we have either wholesale or consignment opportunities available. And that just really depends on what the mix of product is, what the price point is. If it's very unique items, it might be a better fit for a consignment opportunity. Whereas if it's an established maker with a line of goods that's able to be produced consistently, that's more of a wholesale vendor. So those interested people can just email me directly we can start the conversation. And if it's a good fit for what our assortment is, then we can bring them into the retail boutique.
Wonderful. So can you tell people where on the square exactly they can find you?
Yes, we are 1 block north of the square on Elm. So if you know where Gnome Cones is, we are directly next to them. Our address is 207 North Elm.
Perfect. And I know we mentioned earlier that you do have a catalog online for people to check out. And now that you're open for in-person shopping, people can come in and check you out there.
Yes.
But also you're doing curbside pickup, is that right?
Yes, if you're not comfortable coming in, we can certainly arrange a curbside pickup that is contactless. We've got a cart if we know when you're coming, or you can call as soon as you've arrived. There's a curbside pickup parking spot directly in front of our building. If that's available, that's the best place to pull up. And we can put your product out on the cart and you can come pick it up.
That is perfect. Well, thank you so much, Kristen, and thank you and the other two ladies for their time. We appreciate you guys so much. And this was a really special treat to get a sneak peek and check out all these beautiful pieces. We couldn't be more proud of our students and our alums that are participating in these opportunities. And I love to hear that you guys are continuing to provide real world experiences for our students. And it just couldn't be a better program. So great job. Applaud to you all.
Yes, good job, CoLab.
Thank you.